Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Learning with Pace. I am Priyanka Gaur and in this video I am going to give you short, crisp and detailed explanation of the chapter Lost Spring written by Enies Jung. So here in this story she narrates basically stories of two young boys who belong to impoverished family, and through this story she wants to tell the readers that how these boys, I mean those who belong to impoverished family, those children who do not actually born in affluent and wealthy family, they have to churn out their dreams. They are not even allowed to fulfill them and follow their passions, right? And look at the whole title, Lost Spring. So here spring is denoting or referring the childhood and the happiness, the innocence that you have when you are a child. Now that happiness, that childhood is lost, right? And poverty is something that has stolen the childhood. Right? So in this chapter she is talking about the poverty, the impoverished conditions of these two boys. First one is Saheb-e-Alam, the second one is Mukesh. Alright, now in this video I am going to give you the explanation of Saheb-e-Alam first, then we'll move further to Mukesh's stories. Okay, now the very first story is about Saheb-e-Alam and the title she has given is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in Garbage. Now before moving further, what you need to understand is Saheb-e-Alam is who actually? Well, Saheb-e-Alam is a rag picker. Rag pickers are somebody who shuffles the garbage and picks up the valuable stuff. And that valuable stuff, like for example, the watch, clothes, shoes, anything, right? That valuable stuff is being referred as gold. Alright, so rag pickers, what they do, they shuffle the garbage, pick up the valuable stuff and put them up into their rag. That's how they are rag pickers. Alright, and Saheb-e-Alam originally is from Dhaka. Dhaka is capital of Bangladesh, but since a war happened in 1971 there, so that's why many Bangladeshis, they left Dhaka and Bangladesh basically, because Dhaka is capital of Bangladesh. So many people left Bangladesh and they became refugee in India. So they came here and settled in Simapuri, that's in Delhi. Right now, I would say precisely that's on the periphery or outskirts of Delhi. Right now they settled there but without legal permission. So you can say these all Bangladeshis people, they were squatters that time, and still many Bangladeshis are squatters. Right? Squatter means having no legal permission to live. Right? Now, Saheb-e-Alam is amongst them. Basically, his family also came from Bangladesh and they shifted to Simapuri. That's in Delhi, at the border of the Delhi. Now, as I told you, Saheb-e-Alam, he was a rag picker. So always early in the morning he comes out, shuffles the garbage, puts up the valuable stuff into the rag or his plastic bag, right? So one day actually Enies Jung asked him that why he does this. How this happened? Basically this boy Saheb-e-Alam, right? This boy Saheb-e-Alam, he every morning, right? He goes to a garbage dump that is nearby author's house, or you can say author's neighborhood. So he goes there, shuffles the garbage and picks up the valuable stuff. Now that's why Enies Jung, on a daily basis, she used to encounter with him. Right? So that's why she asked him, why does he do this? So that time, what he replied? He says that he has nothing to do rather than shuffling the garbage. Right? Enies Jung asked him why he does this, why he shuffles the garbage. That time Saheb-e-Alam replied that he has nothing to do. That's why. So that time Enies Jung asked him, doesn't he go to school? So he replied, well, there is no school in his area. If somebody will build, definitely he would go. But after asking that, when Enies Jung asked him that if he goes to school or not, that time she felt, this question is quite hollow, this question is quite meaningless, because a person who is not even having a shoes or clothes to put on, how he can afford to go to school, right? So she felt her question is quite gullible, her question is quite hollow. But anyway, nonetheless, she asked him about school, and he replied that he doesn't go to school because there is no school in his area nearby Simapuri. So that time, in half joking mood, Anis Jung asked him that if she starts a school, will he come? So that time Saheb-e-Alam replied, yes, definitely he would come. So one day Saheb-e-Alam saw Anis Jung and he ran towards her asking about, is the school ready? So when Saheb-e-Alam asked this question to Anis Jung that if the school is ready, that time Anis Jung felt quite embarrassed because she did such a promise about school or starting a school which can't be fulfilled, right? So in reply, in embarrassing tone, she says that it takes time to build a school. Over a couple of months, she started knowing Saheb-e-Alam, but she still doesn't know the name, right? So that's why, out of curiosity, she asked Saheb-e-Alam his name. That time he announced that his name is Saheb-e-Alam. Well, now Anis Jung telling all the readers, Saheb-e-Alam means Lord of the Universe, and she at the same time says that Saheb-e-Alam would be having hard time believing the meaning of the name. Why? Look at the contrasting situation. The name means something like Lord, but in reality what he is doing? He is picking up the valuable stuff. He scrounged for gold. Gold here refers to the valuable stuff basically that you find in garbage, right? Or I would say the discarded stuff. Well, the discarded stuff is a dream come true or a gold for a poor people, right? Well, anyway, what I was telling you is, Anis Jung says, look at the reality. What he does, he shuffles the garbage, but the name reveals something very, very different from what he does. Now, couple of months, over a couple of months, she started knowing each and everybody. Well, this boy Saheb-e-Alam, he used to live with his army, right? Army of rag pickers, all were children. They used to remain barefoot, and if not barefoot, some of them used to wear discolored or mismatched shoes, or the discarded one shoes having holes in them, right? So now, one day she asked one of them, like one of the boy, she asked him why he is not wearing chappals. So that time he replied, like one of the boy who is in the group with whom the question is being asked by Anis Jung. So this boy replied that his mother did not give him chappals from the shelf, that's why he did not wear. Meanwhile, the second one interferes, and the second boy says that his mother would have given him, he would have thrown them away. And this boy who is interfering himself wearing discolored or mismatched shoes. So right now Anis Jung asking him that why he is wearing mismatched shoes. So that time he did not reply anything, he just shuffled his leg just to try, just to hide the color of his mismatched shoes basically, right? So now meanwhile the third one also started saying something, and he said he also wants to buy a pair of shoes. Now Anis Jung came to know, these people, why they remain barefoot, because of their poverty. But she is telling all the readers, what, she has traveled across the country, she has been to village, into city, she has seen many boys and army of barefoot rag pickers remaining barefoot. And whenever she used to ask them like why they don't wear slippers, chappals, only one explanation she used to get is that it is their tradition that demands them to remain barefoot. So now she says, how can a tradition demands you to be barefoot all the time? So now she wanted to actually tell all the readers that it is just their excuse to hide poverty in the namesake of tradition. Well, since we are talking about only slippers and chappals, that's how she remembers a story that has been told to her by a young man who belonged to Udupi, that's in Karnataka state. And this young man, he told her the story 30 years later that when this young man was a boy, he while going to school, he used to pray in the temple where his father was a priest. He used to pray just to get a pair of shoes, and one day he got a pair of shoes. The goddess granted the wish, but after even getting the shoes, he used to again pray that God never let these shoes be lost. So here can you see a boy who is basically in priest's family, not having shoes, and now he's praying to get the shoes, and after getting the shoes he is again praying. Now after 30 years, Anis Jung, she wanted to visit the same town Udipi, and she went there. She visited the same temple in which this young boy used to go, right, like before 30 years ago. So she went there. Now the temple is in air of desolation, but there in the backyard a new priest has come. So this new priest's boy, having everything, he is quite grateful, he is quite blissful, he is quite affluent. How come? He is having shoes, he is having uniform, he is having chappals, he is having socks, he is going to school. So now, after looking at the scenario, she is comparing two scenarios, 30 years later and after 30 years. Now what she is telling all the readers, 30 years before, a priest's boy had to pray to gain or to buy a pair of shoes basically, but 30 years later you must have seen the priest's life is being developed. Now the priest's boy doesn't need to do this pray and all in front of God and goddess to get the pair of shoes. Now here she is actually telling us that in everybody's life you will find a sort of change, a positive change, but in rag picker's life there is no as such change. Like before 30 years they used to remain barefoot. In fact, after 30 years they are still remaining barefoot, right? Now she says that one of the acquaintance from this army asked Anis Jung to go to Simapuri. So actually they literally took Anis Jung to Simapuri. Now Anis Jung is telling us Simapuri is at the periphery, but metamorphically it is not the part of Delhi. Why? Because see, this Simapuri actually at the periphery, at the outskirt of the mainstream Delhi, right? And how come it is away from Delhi? How come it is not a part of Delhi metamorphically? Well, though it is, reality is a part of Delhi, but understand my point. Well, people living in mainstream, they are having good condition, they are having pakka houses, they are having blissful life, they are having primary and basic and every sort of facilities, right? But people living in Simapuri are in bad condition. If Simapuri is a part of Delhi practically, then why Simapuri's condition is very bad? So that's why she says, though it is a part of Delhi, but metamorphically it is not a part of Delhi, it is away from Delhi, because people living in Simapuri are in totally bad condition. Now she tells us that all the Bangladeshi people most of them in 1971 they came and they settled in Simapuri. Why they settled in Simapuri? Reason being wilderness. Well, Simapuri back then in 1971 was an abandoned area, empty area. Nobody used to live there. So that's why they came here, right? Because they need to find something where they can stay. So Simapuri that time was an empty place and they decided to stay here as a squatter. That time in 1971 Simapuri was a wilder place, but now here it is no longer the case. Now Simapuri is not actually a wilder place. Here 10,000 rag pickers, near around 10,000 rag pickers are living there, but in very bad condition. Their houses are made of mud, there is no roof. They have to make the roof out of two things. They put thin sheet of tin and the tarpaulin sheet, that's the plastic material you use while it is rainy season, so that the roof can be leak proof, right? At the same time, you must remember there is no sewage in Simapuri, there is no drainage system in Simapuri, and people living in very, very filthiest condition. There is no ID they are having, there is no ID card they are having. Well, why they would be having ID card? Because for survival you need food, not ID card, right? But they all having only ration card. Why ration card? Actually, when your name is on ration card. I mean, when you get your ration card, your names get enrolled in voters list, and then you can cast the vote. When you cast a vote, you become a citizen of the certain respective or certain country. So well, these people, all these rag pickers, they are not having any ID. They just have only and only ration cards. With ration cards, they can cast the votes. They can get their names enrolled in voters list, and in return they get either free food or food at a very cheap rate, I would say. Well, the food is of very bad quality. Now in Simapuri, she actually had a conversation with group of women sitting in tattered sari. Tattered means very dirty and torn saris basically. So actually now Anees Jung asked them why they left Dhaka. So that time these women, they replied that they had house, they had fields, but they were famished. They were actually not getting food. So that's why they prefer to live wherever they find food. So this is what the reply Anees Jung got when she asked them why they left Dhaka, where they were having houses, they were having very green lush fields. So these women replied they would prefer rather living as at such a place where they would be having food, their children go to sleep without having stomach ache. That happens out of hunger, right? So that's why they are living in Simapuri. Now she says, Anees Jung is telling us that wherever they find foods, what they do, they pitch their tents, and that's how their home is quite transit, the temporary one. They are not settled people. Well, rag picking is what? Rag picking is having two different meaning. How come? Well, rag picking is gold to them. Alright, now she says, for the elders means these children's parents, and for children's, this garbage denotes something else. For children, it is wrapped in wonder, because children are quite happy when they find new stuff. But for their parents, this garbage is just a mean of daily breads and just a mean of getting getting food and their survival. If the question comes, like for children, garbage is what? For these children living in Simapuri, garbage is gold wrapped in wonder, and for elders it is just getting the daily breads and the means of survival. All right, now after this, when she was taking around in Simapuri, Saheb-e-Alam told her that sometimes he finds 1 rupee or sometimes 10 rupee note in garbage. While saying this, his eyes got lightened up. So here Anees Jung is telling the readers that, look at this child's innocence. He feels happy whenever he finds just 1 rupee note or 10 rupee note. And you know what? If they find silver coin, if they find, silver coin means the small valuable stuff, they don't stop scrounging. They scrounge, they search more and more, they shuffle more and more to get gold basically. Suppose if they find, I'm just giving you one example, suppose if they find a watch, right? Well, I'm not wearing watch this time. Well, if they find a watch, they don't stop scrounging. They scrounge more and more to find more valuable stuff than this watch. It gives them a hope. Over a period of time, they get their skills in shuffling the garbage and it becomes a fine art to them. Now after this, one day she saw that Saheb is looking at a game and Saheb is telling Anees Jung that he likes the game, but he doesn't know what kind of game it is. Well, he was watching tennis game, right? That time, out of innocence, Saheb-e-Alam जो है, he tells Anees Jung, उनको एक चीज बताते हैं that this gatekeeper, he lets him and he allow him to enter into this field basically when there is no one around, and he let him swing there too, right? Well, at the same time, she noticed that Saheb-e-Alam that time wearing tennis shoes. Saheb-e-Alam wearing tennis shoes, and these tennis shoes white in color, looking very weird, peculiar with his mismatched shorts and shirts. Now asking him why he is wearing these white shoes with mismatched shorts and shirts. That time the kind of reply she got is, Saheb-e-Alam said, someone gave it to him. So Anis Jung come to know certainly that these are the discarded shoes, because these shoes, tennis shoes, having hole in them, and it must be given by some rich boy. And look at this, this hole in the shoes is not bothering Saheb-e-Alam. It was bothering that rich boy who discarded these shoes, but it wasn't bothering Saheb-e-Alam. Reason being, the person who has remained barefoot, so getting a pair of shoes, moreover they are having holes, well, getting a pair of shoes is a dream come true for such a person, right? Now one day she saw that Saheb-e-Alam is having a tea canister over his shoulder, and now he was going to his milk booth basically. So that time Saheb-e-Alam tells her that he got the job and 800 rupees he gets per month. At the same time the meals, right, the food he gets of 3 times. And he told Anis Jung that he got the job in tea stall. So now she says, Anis Jung says that, now this boy Saheb-e-Alam is not at all happy. Though he, he's getting 800 rupees, getting meals, but still not happy. Why is it so? Actually, it is a very important point you need to remember. Now, Anis Jung is telling us, what? When he was a rag picker, he was carefree. He was master of his own life, and he used to carry this plastic bag, though it was heavier in reality, right? But it used to be, he used to carry this plastic bag as if it is so light. Why? Because this bag belonged to him. But now he has to carry this steel canister, where I have written well, he has to carry this steel canister. In reality, it is quite heavy, it is quite lighter as compared to the plastic bag, but it seems quite heavier for him. Reason being, this canister doesn't belong to him, it belongs to the shop owner. So now 3 things you need to remember here. Why Saheb-e-Alam is not happy, though he got the job, he is getting money, right? Well, he is not happy. First reason is, right now he is not carefree. Well, while he was a rag picker, he was carefree. Second reason, right now he has to work under somebody else in the tea shop or tea stall, but he is not the life of his own master. Once he was a rag picker, he was the master of his own life. 2 reasons I have given you. Third, the canister that he has to carry in a tea stall doesn't belong to him. That's why it seems quite heavier to him. It belongs to tea shop owner. But the plastic bag he used to carry, which was quite heavy, right? It used to seem like lighter one for him, because this plastic bag was his own. That's why. Right now, at the end, what you need to understand, see how this Saheb-e-Alam, his spring is lost. How this story is justifying the title. Well, because of poverty, he had to do this job. Right now, he's not happy in his job, he's not carefree. That's how his innocence is lost. Though while he was in poverty, like he was doing this rag picking and all, but he was the master of his own life. That's why he was happy, right? While doing rag picking, he was in his innocence stage. He was having happiness, finding joy, and finding happiness in shuffling the garbage. But right now, due to this poverty thing or impoverished condition, he has to work under somebody else, where he is not ruling his own life. He is not the master of his own destiny. So one more thing you need to understand, children are being exploited when they do some work, right? So that's how their innocence, their happiness, that is stolen by poverty only, right? So again, I would say, those children who are not born in affluent family, in rich family, poverty, it just steal their happiness, it just steal their innocence, and that's how their spring, their childhood, it is vanished. Thank you so much for watching this video. In the next video, I'll be giving you the summary of Mukesh, and like Mukesh's story. That's also quite heart-wrenching story. You can follow me on Instagram. You can join the Telegram group as well. If you want me to take the live sessions, you can comment down below. And at the same time, if you want the PDF and the writing portion, basically follow my channel and follow me on Instagram. At the same time, don't forget to join the Telegram group. Thank you so much.